how do you think people are being triggered by this? What's your kind of take on it from sort of a more professional standpoint as to where those triggers are maybe coming from?
I think for a lot of people right now, the hardest thing is just the capacity to feel safe, like, because I mean, ultimately, our grandparents were forced to wage wars in in their external environment. And all we're being asked to do is literally sit at home and marinate in our own emotional situations. And I think for a lot of people, we've been pathologically busy for a very, very long time. And that's just, having to sit in the fear and in the anxiety and not be able to do anything to escape it. I think that's the next frontier for us, that we need to be kind of explorers or pioneers of our own emotional environments, because we've already explored a lot of our physical environment, and we've done a lot of things around that. So I think that's where, the mental health side of this whole pandemic is really going to come into things, which I'm actually in not, and I don't know if this is appropriate necessarily to say, but I'm not that concerned about. I actually think it'll be a good thing to come out of all of this, is the fact that people will be more resilient, and it will teach us, there's a stress response theory, and it's called the optimal window of tolerance. And basically with between 2 points, you kind of go into, it's the optimal level of stress that you can have. And anything above that, you go into hyper arousal, which is things like mania and running around and pathological busyness. And anything under that, you go into what's called hypo arousal, which is kind of this, lethargy. And I mean, you can either crawl into bed for 3 months and hope that this thing passes you by, or you can, pull on your big girl pants, as I would say, and kind of just crack on and make the most out of it, and and hope that you can get through it and learn to navigate your own emotions.
Yeah,
so from a professional standpoint, that's kind of how I'm approaching it at this point.
that's really interesting as well, because you spoke about obviously the fear and the uncertainty and all of those things that are coming up now, almost because there's no choice but to face them. But I don't know, in my mind, I look at that and go, well, are they just coming up now out of the blue, or were they always there anyway? And we just had really good devices to kind of distract ourselves from dealing with them.
Yeah. All the distractions and addictions, like, it's so interesting, the addictions that we have to things like, even things like social media, food, drugs, alcohol, sex, love, there's romance, there's all sorts of things that we distract ourselves from our own emotional lives doing. And now we're forced to, rather than constantly have to do, we're forced to be, and the thing I keep coming back to is, as Eckhart Tolle talks about this idea of this kind of this conscious breath, just to bring you back to the moment. And there's been several times in the past, particularly in the past week, that I've just had to remind myself to breathe, because I think that it really just pulls you back into your body and into your physiology and into your direct reality, as opposed to trying to project too far into the future and try and control anything. Because I know, even from a personal standpoint, my life has fundamentally changed, even in the last week, about
Sure.
6 times. So yeah, and I know that I'm certainly not alone in that.